Hello all and welcome to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we create popular characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we are making the future King of the Pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy is a pirate who ate of the Gum Gum fruit, a mythical devil fruit that turned his entire body into rubber. This allows him to stretch his limbs to deliver devastating attacks at long range, as well as take on a variety of forms that each have a unique set of abilities. So without further ado, let's get started. First off, we have to choose an ancestry. For all his unique powers and abilities, Luffy is still a human. This gives us an ability boost to both dexterity and charisma at no cost. It also allows us to select versatile heritage to pick up a bonus general feat. First off, we are going to pick toughness to reflect Luffy's rubber body, being able to take most basic attacks with little harm. The toughness feat gives Luffy bonus hit points equal to his level and lowers the DC of our recovery check should we ever fall unconscious, which Luffy tends to do a lot. Next, we select a background. Unfortunately, there's no background for continuously getting dropped off in the forest by your grandfather, so we're going to do the next best thing, Martial Disciple, which gives us a bonus to both our strength and charisma scores and allows us to become trained in our choice of either athletics or acrobatics. We are going to choose athletics here, but by the end of the build, we're going to be legendary in both of these skills, so the choice basically comes down to whether you want quick jump or catfall as a bonus feat. Quick jump allows us to make long and high jumps as a single action, letting us jump around the battlefield with reckless abandon. Next, we need to pick a class. For our class, we have a couple of boxes to check. Luffy doesn't exactly wear armor or use weapons, but he can still inflict massive damage with his fist. And second, Luffy can use Haki to enhance his punches, allowing him to hit Logio-type Devil Fruit users, who are otherwise immune to physical attacks. Pathfinder's best approximation for these characters are incorporeal creatures. Finally, we need a way to augment our form to enter Gear 4 or Gear 5. All these things considered, our class choice becomes pretty obvious. A sorcerer. I know. Monk seems to be the obvious choice for Luffy, but trust me, on this, sorcerer checks most of our boxes perfectly. Monk would give us an increased damage with our fist, increased armor proficiency, and more hit points per level. The damage we can easily make up for with spells, the increased armor class we can make up for with ranged option and high mobility, and the hit points, well, they're kind of a lost cause. But we can sort of compensate for this with high constitution, but we are still missing out on 3 hit points per level, meaning at higher levels, this gap between sorcerer and more traditional martial builds will grow larger. But I think the bonuses sorcerer gives us are too large to pass up here. Moving on to ability scores. Luffy is both strong and dexterous, but his true power is the ability to inspire anyone he meets and fill them with hope. I'm going to call that charisma. However, Luffy is still extremely strong and dexterous, so those abilities need to be tied for second. Next, we have Con. This will help us make up for our low hit points and represent Luffy's ability to take a beating. Wisdom will be next. Luffy isn't particularly wise, but perception is tied to wisdom, and Luffy has powerful enough observation haki to see into the future. Finally, we have nothing invested in intelligence because, let's be honest, Luffy is not winning any trivia contest anytime soon. For our skills, we will be legendary in acrobatics and athletics to leap around the battlefield unimpeded by our enemies, and in intimidation reflecting Luffy's terrifying nature once he stops messing around. We also pick up training in diplomacy, deception, warfare lore, and religion in this build. These aren't particularly applicable to Luffy, but all of them except diplomacy were not given a choice, so we had to take them. Alright, let's jump into the meat of this build. At level 1, we can pick up Natural Ambition Ancestry feat. This lets us pick up the Reach spell, allowing us to stretch our arms, giving our spells an additional 30 feet of range, at the cost of a single action. We also get a Bloodline from Sorcerer. We're going to pick Diabolic Bloodline. We did get our powers from a Devil Fruit after all. We also get to pick up a couple of spells. I'm only going to list the ones that fit particularly well with our flavor. Feel free to get creative with your other spells, or just min-max. I won't tell. For cantrips, we can pick up Shield, allowing us to coat our body in Haki and block attacks. This gives us a +1 to our AC and gives us the shield block reaction, allowing us to reduce incoming damage based off the rank of our shield spell. Inside Ropes is very gross default flavor, but we can change it up, allowing Luffy to stretch out his body and use it as rope. It even gives us a bonus to athletics checks to climb at spell rank 3. The message spell allows us to stretch our head to an ally within range and whisper something into their ear. They even get to respond before we snap back into place. We also get the spell Produce Flame, which has a basic spell attack that does 2d4 fire damage plus another d4 for every rank above first, allowing us to do the basic Gum Gum Red Hot. Luffy doesn't get this ability till way later in the series, but if you're a stickler about that, just don't use that cantrip yet. It comes from our bloodline, so we already get it and we have to take it. For first rank spells, we can take Admonishing Ray. This spell is our bread and butter Gum Gum pistol. It has a 60-foot range that lets us make a spell attack, which deals 2d6 bludgeoning damage plus 2d6 per spell rank above first. Plus, the spell is non-lethal, which explains why none of Luffy's foes are ever actually dead after Luffy punches them with a fist the size of a mountain. Also, the spell is force damage instead of bludgeoning damage, meaning we can deal it to ghosts. Logio types. We also get Fear, which allows us to use our Haki to make our foes frightened. Shielded Arm is an upgrade to our shield cantrip, giving us double the AC bonus and increasing the duration to a minute, at the cost of a spell slot. Our bloodline gives us Charm, explaining why we consistently go to a new island, overthrow its leader after like 3 days, and just have all the inhabitants on that island throw us a party. At level 2, we pick up the Dangerous Sorcery feat, increasing all the damage we do with our spells, but not our cantrips, and Titan Wrestler, allowing us to grapple creatures 2 size categories larger than us. This automatically upgrades to 3 size categories when we become legendary in athletics. At level 3, we can take Slippery Prey, which basically gives our escape attempts the Agile trait, lowering the penalty we take from trying again. We also get second rank spells at this level. Inner Radiance Torrent is like an AoE Admonishing Ray. It does less damage, but hits everyone in a 60-foot line. We can even add an extra action to double that range, or an extra turn to double the damage. Also, Remove Fear helps us inspire our allies to overcome their fears and put their faith in us. Except Usopp, but that really just seems like too much to ask. Level 4 gives us access to the Spell Weapon. This makes our strikes enhanced with 1d6 extra damage after we cast the spell in the same round. This isn't much, but it gives us something to do with our final action if we need it. We also get the Powerful Leap skill feat, adding an extra 5 feet to all of our leaps. At level 5, we add 5 feet to our movement speed with the Fleet General feat. We also increase our Fortitude saves to Expert with Magical Fortitude. At level 5, we unlock 3rd rank spells. There aren't a lot of fitting options, but our bloodline does give us the Enthrall spell, which fits Luffy because he's really good at drawing attention to himself, even when the plan doesn't mean that he needs to be there. Level 6 makes our spells a bit harder to interrupt with the Steady Spellcasting class feat. With this, when something would disrupt our spellcasting, we have a 1 in 4 chance to continue with the spell anyway. We also get the Rapid Mantle skill feat, letting us automatically pull ourselves up onto the ledge if we grab onto it while we're falling. Level 7, our spell DC and attack proficiency goes up to Expert. We also unlock our parkour abilities with the Wall Jump skill feat. This means if we end our jumps next to a wall, we can spend another action to leap off that wall. We can only use this once per turn for now, but once we become legendary in athletics, that restriction's removed. Also, we get rank 4 spells. Pernicious Poltergeist allows us to use either the Telekinetic Storm or Frighten abilities. Till level 7, Telekinetic Storm can be reflavored as Gum Gum Gatling, dealing 48 force damage to everyone in a 10-foot burst. And Frighten lets us use our Conqueror's Haki, making everyone in the same burst frightened. We can also pick up Divine Wrath, letting us enter 3rd gear to blow up our hand and hit all creatures in a 20-foot burst for 4d10 spirit damage. Level 8 gives us the ability to be a little less careful with our attacks with Safeguard spell. By adding an extra action to the spell, we can exclude ourselves from any of our area of effect spells. We can also take Quick Climb to let us launch ourselves up the mountains quicker and eventually giving us a climb speed. Level 8 appeases all the people who are still mad that I didn't take the Monk class by picking the Monk dedication through the multi-talented Ancestry feat. You guys are totally appeased, right? I'm not going to get any comments saying that I completely made an objectively stupid decision in making this fictional character in a system that was never intended to make an anime character, right? Anyway, this gives us the Powerful Fist ability, making our unarmed strikes do d6s instead of d4s, and can actually do lethal damage now. We also get Lightning Reflexes, bumping our reflex saves from Proficient to Expert. And we get 9 apiece, and we get rank 5 spells. We actually have a lot of good options here. Blink Charge lets us teleport up to 60 feet and then make a strike, which does an extra 2d8 force damage. I mean, not teleport, just move faster than they can see, and that's totally different. Flame Strike, which is basically the flame version of Divine Wrath. It affects only a 10-foot radius with 8d6 fire damage, but because our fire is infused with Haki, the opponent only applies half their fire resistance and cannot be immune to it. Also, we get Crushing Despair that comes from our bloodline, and it lets us unleash our Conqueror's Haki on everyone within a 30-foot cone, preventing them from using actions and maybe even making them slowed. At 10th level, we pick up Quicken Casting, letting us remove an action from any of our spells once per day. We also get Intimidating Glare, meaning we can frighten people without even saying a word. Level 11 gives us Lead Climber, letting us stretch down an arm to help our foes climb any ledge with us. We also get Alertness, which increases our Perception proficiency to Expert. We gain Simple Weapon Expertise, bringing our unarmed attack to Expert proficiency. You hear that, Monk fans? For the next 2 levels, we're just as good at punching as you are. I'm not defensive. You're defensive. Anyways, we also get rank 6 spells. Righteous Might is our way of replicating Gear 4. It gives us temporary hit points, a bonus to speed, resistance to physical damage, dark vision, a boosted athletic score, and a boost to our unarmed strikes. Just keep in mind that while we're in this form, we can use none of our other spells, which means we are restricted to just the basic unarmed strikes, which wouldn't be so bad unless you realize our strikes don't have the reach that our spells have, so we will be up close and personal. The Repulsion spell lets us unleash Conqueror's Haki to prevent weaker foes from approaching us without a will save. And True Seeing lets us use our Observation Haki to see through our foes' tricks. Anyway, at level 12, we can take the Monk feat, Perfection's Path, to boost our reflex saves up to Master, and the Combat Climber skill allowing us to climb with only one hand and not be off guard. Great for the cases where our other hand is trapped in a giant golden ball that is twice our size. 13th level gives us the Bounce Back Ancestry feat, meaning once per day when we recover from the dying condition, we don't gain the wounded condition. The Defensive Robe feature bumps our unarmed proficiency up to Expert, and Weapon Specialization increases the damage we do with our punches. We also gain 7th rank spells. Deity Strike is a basic spell attack that does 7d12 force damage to any foe within 500 feet, and Divine Vessel is another spell that helps us emulate 4th gear. However, because this is a morph spell rather than a polymorph spell, we still have access to our spellcasting while becoming large. It also gives us a fly speed equal to our land speed and gains a bonus on all saving throws, dark vision, and 40 temporary hit points. At 14th level, we increase our movement speed to 40 feet with the Monk Moves Archetype feat, and we can force our foes into a full retreat with the Terrified Retreat skill feat. 15th level lets us boost our Fortitude saves to Master with the Canny Acumen General feat, as well as boosting our spell DC and attack rolls to Master with Master Spellcasting. As for spells, the real breadwinner here is Moment of Renewal. This lets us rally nearby allies with an instant 24 hours of rest and get rid of any detrimental effects that would go away on their own within the 24-hour period. This is perfect for a 3rd act climatic showdown. At level 16, we take Monk Resiliency, boosting our hit points for every monk archetype we've taken up to this point. And we get Intimidating Prowess, which gives us a +2 to intimidation checks when we physically menace our foes. Level 17 gives our allies a bonus for being the most loyal crew in the world, letting us give up to 10 allies within 30 feet 12 temporary hit points, and a +2 to their will saves against mental effects with Heroic Presence. But the big gain here is 9th rank spells. Foresight is our advanced observation haki, allowing us to see into the future, giving us a +2 on initiative rolls, preventing us from being caught off guard, and granting us a reaction, giving us a second chance to avoid any attack that comes our way. But even that pales in comparison to our next spell. We can already grow our fists with Deity Strike. We can already throw multiple punches with Telekinetic Flurry. We can already use our Red Hawk with Flame Strike, but Meteor Swarm allows us to do all 3 of these attacks at the same time, bringing down 4 punches to do 60-10 bludgeoning damage to everything within 4 different 10-foot bursts, while at the same time dealing 14d6 fire damage to anything within 40 feet of those punches. At 18th level, we take Key Strike, letting us make an unarmed strike with a +1 bonus and 3d6 extra damage. We can also kill foes with an intimidation check using the Scare to Death skill feat. At 19th level, we can pick up Incredible Initiative, basically giving us the +2 initiative from Foresight permanently. We also get Bloodline Paragon, giving us access to 10th rank spells. Legendary Spellcaster boosts our DC and attacks with spells to Legendary. As for 10th rank spells, we are going to take Avatar to achieve the peak power of Gear 5. Mechanically, we will pretend to be a worshipper of Aurori. This will give us a 45 AC, 30 temporary hit points, a plus to both our athletics and unarmed strikes, as well as 80-foot base movement speed, the ability to airwalk, and both a melee and ranged or unarmed attack. Remember, while we're in this form, we won't be able to cast any of our other spells, but the form offers so much that we would hardly need them. We finish off the build with Metamagic Mastery class feat. Now, our Metamagic feats, like Reach Spell and Safeguard, can be activated as a free action rather than costing an action tax. And last but not least, the Cloud Jump skill feat triples our long jump length and allows us to high jump as far as we could previously long jump. meaning we can now jump 40 feet guaranteed, and if we wanted to spend our entire turn, we could jump 120 feet by simply rolling a 7 on the dice. Alright, now that we have this build complete, let's look at the pros and the cons. On the pros side, we can dish out a ton of damage, way more than a monk. At level 20, we can throw out an admonishing ray that does 20d6 of force damage. Next, we have high mobility. Between our legendary athletic score, blink charge, and our 40-foot movement speed, enemies will have an extremely hard time catching up to us. Finally, we end the build master in all saving throws, meaning we stand a fighting chance in making all of our saves against opponents at high levels. Life isn't all good for us, though. First, like we said earlier, the sorcerer isn't giving much in the hit point department. We've done all we can do to mitigate this, but if we take heavy damage, well, let's make sure we have Chopper on standby to patch us up. Next, our highest level spell is a battle form, meaning we are locked out of our other spells while using it. We still have the power to go toe-to-toe with our foes, but our versatility goes out the window. Finally, all of our powers are based on spells, which means we have to rely on spell slots. This won't usually be a problem, but if we have multiple encounters in a day, we might find ourselves running low on fuel. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and come back to hear me say thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to see more videos like this.